The America First policy, a cornerstone of Donald Trump's presidency, has sent shockwaves through the global trading system. This policy prioritizes American interests above all else, often at the expense of long-standing international agreements and institutions. Trump's approach favors bilateral deals, where the U.S. can leverage its economic might for maximum advantage. This strategy directly challenges the multilateral framework that has underpinned global trade for decades, raising concerns about the future of international cooperation. The World Trade Organization, established in 1995, has been instrumental in fostering a rules-based system for global trade. It provides a platform for resolving disputes and ensuring fair competition among member states. However, the Trump administration has shown skepticism towards multilateral organizations like the WTO, viewing them as bureaucratic and disadvantageous to American interests. This perspective has led to a weakening of the WTO's authority and a rise in protectionist measures. The consequences of this shift are far-reaching, impacting businesses, consumers, and the very fabric of international relations. As Trump advances his America First agenda, the global community grapples with the uncertainty and potential upheaval it creates. The future of global trade hangs in the balance as nations adjust to this new reality and its unpredictable course. The WTO, with its 164 member countries, has long served as the bedrock of the global trading system. Founded on the principles of non-discrimination, transparency, and predictable trade policies, the WTO has facilitated unprecedented growth in international commerce. Its dispute settlement mechanism, a cornerstone of its success, provides a forum for nations to resolve trade disagreements through a rules-based process. However, the Trump administration's approach to trade has posed a significant challenge to the WTO's authority and effectiveness. The administration's preference for bilateral deals and its imposition of tariffs outside the WTO framework have undermined the organization's credibility. Furthermore, the U.S. has blocked appointments to the WTO's appellate body, responsible for resolving trade disputes, effectively paralyzing its dispute settlement system. This weakening of the WTO has far-reaching implications for the global trading system. It creates uncertainty and instability, making it difficult for businesses to plan and invest. It also raises the specter of a trade war, as countries resort to retaliatory measures in the absence of a functioning dispute resolution mechanism.
The Trump administration's America First approach has sparked widespread concern among trade experts and economists worldwide. They argue that the administration's actions represent a significant departure from decades of U.S. leadership in promoting a rules-based global trading system. This shift, they warn, could have dire consequences for the global economy.
The Trump administration's actions are deeply troubling, says Chad Bown, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. They are undermining the very institutions that have helped to create a more prosperous and stable world. Bown argues that the administration's approach is based on a flawed understanding of how trade works. Tariffs are taxes on American consumers and businesses, he says. They will not bring back manufacturing jobs to the United States, but they will raise prices and hurt the economy. The potential consequences of a breakdown in the global trading system are significant. A study by the International Monetary Fund found that a full-blown trade war could reduce global GDP by as much as 0.8%. Such a scenario would have devastating consequences for businesses and workers around the world.
Vulnerable nations, the plight of the Global South. While the America First policy's impact is felt globally, developing countries, particularly those in the Global South, are disproportionately vulnerable. These nations often rely heavily on international trade for economic growth and poverty reduction.
The WTO's rules-based system has been instrumental in providing them with a level playing field in the global marketplace. The weakening of the WTO and the rise of protectionist measures threaten to erode the progress made by developing countries in recent decades.
Without the WTO's safeguards, they risk being marginalized in trade negotiations and subjected to unfair trade practices by more powerful nations. This could lead to a decline in exports, job losses, and increased poverty.
Furthermore, the current trade tensions have created a climate of uncertainty that discourages foreign investment in developing countries. This is particularly concerning as foreign direct investment plays a crucial role in promoting economic development and creating jobs in these nations.
Economic fallout. Quantifying the damage. The economic consequences of a dismantling of the WTO and a retreat from multilateral trade are substantial. Various studies by reputable institutions paint a bleak picture of potential fallout.
The Kiel Institute for the World Economy, for instance, estimates that a collapse of the WTO would hit the European Union particularly hard, with a potential decline in real GDP of 0.5%. Germany, a major exporter, would suffer even more.
China, deeply integrated into the global trading system, faces the most significant losses. The same study projects a potential 6% decline in China's real GDP if the WTO were to collapse. This underscores the interconnected nature of the global economy and how disruptions in one part can reverberate throughout the system.
The US, despite its attempts to shield itself through protectionist measures, would not escape unscathed. While the impact on the US economy might be less severe compared to the EU or China, it would still experience a decline in real GDP.
Moreover, the costs of higher prices for consumers and businesses, as well as potential retaliatory tariffs from trading partners, could negate any perceived benefits of an America First approach.
Future uncertain, navigating shifting sands. The future of global trade hinges on the policy direction of the US, the world's largest economy. With the America First agenda still influential, uncertainty looms large.
While a potential second Trump administration might intensify this approach, other political scenarios offer different trajectories. A Democratic administration, for instance, might adopt a more multilateral approach, seeking to repair relationships with traditional allies and re-engage with the WTO.
However, even under such a scenario, the US's commitment to free trade and its willingness to abide by international rules cannot be guaranteed.
Adding to the complexity are factors like the ongoing US-China trade war and the rise of protectionist sentiment in various parts of the world. These developments suggest that a return to the pre-Trump era of globalization is unlikely.
Navigating this complex and evolving landscape requires a nuanced understanding of the geopolitical and economic forces at play.
A world divided, implications and uncertainties. The potential unraveling of the global trading system, driven by the America First policy and similar protectionist agendas, carries profound implications for the international order.
A world divided by trade barriers and competing economic blocs could see a decline in global prosperity and an increase in geopolitical tensions. Smaller nations, particularly those in the global south, face the most significant risks in this scenario.
Deprived of the protections offered by a rules-based system, they risk becoming pawns in a power struggle between larger nations. This could exacerbate existing inequalities and fuel instability in already volatile regions.
The future remains uncertain. Whether the world descends into a period of protectionism and conflict or finds a new equilibrium remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that the stakes are high.
The choices made by global leaders in the coming years will have far-reaching consequences for generations to come.